They say you only get one chance at a first impression. Everything rides on what WWE and Netflix do tonight. In just a few hours, the future of the show, the product, the company, and the industry in totality is at stake. And that's not being over-dramatic or over-embellishing or over-exaggerating the severity of this monumental moment. Because BC has been around for some decades of pro wrestling. I've seen several eras. This is one of those game changers. We hope it's for the right reasons. We hope we're going in the right trajectory when tonight's show goes off the air. But nobody knows. And the funny thing is, or not so funny, the wild truth about it all is that not even Netflix or WWE knows. None of us will know until the show goes off the air where the whole company and the industry is headed. That's what we all find out tonight. I have all the latest for you guys in this amped up for Monday, the 6th of January. All of the latest info you're going to need for tonight's big debut on Netflix of Monday Night Raw, including some surprises. One surprise is no longer a surprise because the surprise ruined his own surprise. We'll talk about it. And there's also another surprise. Some may look at it as a surprise. Some may say, hey, man, it's good to see this person back. Others may be like, wasting TV time. But either way, big name coming back tonight. We'll go over that. Of course, John Cena, big matchups. We got it all for you guys. That's coming up in this upload. Everything you need to know. I will tell you this in this cold open teaser. Most of the talent is already there in LA. All of the talent, because there's a huge snowstorm sweeping the states. So everybody was notified days ago. Change up your travel plans. Make sure you guys are there. They have to go over a lot of stuff, obviously. But first and foremost, you got to make sure you're actually there. So most of the talent was there yesterday. So that's huge. I think having people there a little bit earlier, maybe you can go over things and maybe things will be a lot smoother come when this company goes live tonight. That's the hope anyway. But I will tell you guys, most talent already there. Suits and ties, HHH, Nick Khan, all of them have been there for a couple of days now. Also in this amped up, we're going to talk another piece of Bray Wyatt lives on in the pro wrestling world, and this time in AEW. JoJo returns to pro wrestling. Could it be a one and done, a one-off? Absolutely. Could this lead to a lot more? Could she get that fire back? Absolutely. But we're going to talk about it. You guys know how I've always put JoJo up on a pedestal. Not just the fact that I think she is one of the most beautiful women on the planet, but the significant other of Bray, who I put on the highest of pedestals. So to hear and to see JoJo back, we're going to talk about it. And also, Hunter Hearst Helmsley has been doing a lot of media, obviously, for Netflix and the Raw debut. And it's gotten to the point where, like we used to say for Tony Khan, dude, just stop. Stop doing the interviews. You're not helping yourself or your product or anything. Guys, we got to keep that same energy for Hunter. You're not going to believe the answers this guy is giving. Usually he says a lot of words, but it's a whole lot of nothing. It's word salad. But you're not going to believe the answers he's given. Like, do you have WrestleMania plans set? You want to talking in circles. You're not going to fathom the answer he gave about WrestleMania plans. And even more obnoxious, his answer to being commercial free or commercials on Netflix. The answer he gave, you got to be kidding me, dude. We're going to talk about it. Exact quotes. We'll talk about what he's actually saying. It's wild. And if you ever had a doubt or you were shocked that a lot of fans just don't have confidence in Hunter Hearst Helmsley and his creative or his WWE direction, these answers is where I would direct you to. We'll talk about it. It's all coming up. It's a huge, monumental amped up for January 6th. A lot to talk about. It is a huge day in pro wrestling. Swig of coffee, come right on back. It's January 6th. It's Raw. It's Netflix. Can Hunter pull it off? Listen, the good news is he can't screw this up, right? There's massive names returning tonight and a couple of big matchups. You could lock Hunter in a bathroom all night, and there's no way this show could be bad, right? Right? Swig of coffee, come on back. 44 dive. We rolling. It's Amped Up with BC in the unit. Oh, man. If you guys hear a little bit of noise in the background, I got the NFL Network bumping. Trying to catch up on a lot of news while I'm I got a lot to do today, man, and I got to make sure that I'm back, obviously, for Netflix, do my notes and my due diligence for you guys for a big review within the next 24 hours. So I'm trying to take care of a bunch of stuff at once now. One of those top priorities is getting an upload out to you guys, man. Getting it amped up to you guys, but I also got to make sure I'm up to the playoff brackets. The Packers lost a big game last night against the Bears because we're a bunch of buffoons most of the season. And we somehow lost to the Bears in the final second. So we dropped to the number 7 seed. So now we got to take on one of the best teams in the league, the Eagles, in Philadelphia. Not looking forward to that. So that's the position they put themselves in, right? Before we kick this off, and we will start off with all the Netflix info you will need to know, I got to give a big shout out over to Jamal, and I know I gave that shout out beforehand too. I want to make sure, Jamal, you know that it is the utmost of appreciation over to you, man. I appreciate the coffee, and as I said in a recent upload, I really hope there's now momentum with Tiffany Stratton. It can't just be she wins the title and we'll call you when we have something for you. We'll book you good sometimes, because that's what happened when she got the briefcase, and then they just forgot about her, and they just put her in the most irrelevant of positions off the show. It was almost better if she didn't have the briefcase, if she was going to be booked that way. So now with the title, you have to go in a monumental way. Hopefully they do that. So Jamal, yeah, hopefully the momentum carries through. Also, Derek Fleming, man. Good to see you, brother. Always appreciate you. The coffee is just top tier, man. Never needed, always appreciated. Always good to see you up in here. And I don't know why the Tube not letting you send a coffee to BC, but they try to stop a lot of things. We just don't let it, right? We go against the machine. We go against the Tube and the platform. They will not stop us. Derek Fleming, I appreciate you big time, man. It was good to see you back up in here. And also Josh C. Much respect, man. I appreciate you trusting BC to give you the full, blunt, amplified honesty always in this community. I will never BS you, man. You have my word on that. There's not enough hours in a day to BS. Be straightforward. It's the only way we can create real change and help the product, the company, and all those in those walls. So, Josh C., good to see you, brother. I appreciate the coffee and in the words. So, some unit members chucking a coffee at the channel via the super thankses and super chats and all the things you guys do to just support the channel top tier. And all I ask is the free stuff, man. Smash the up, subscriptions, all that good stuff. All right, the content is all free that I'm giving you. If you want to smash that up and help the algorithm to make sure the channel stays on the platform we rock out, that's all I ask. Subscriptions, all that helps the channel stay alive. Speaking of, later, there's a good possibility, if I can get things done in accordance, I could go live at least for a half an hour before Raw debuts on Netflix. I would love to do that. So check the channel. You should be subscribed and notified. No reason why you shouldn't be anyway. Otherwise, you're just making it harder on yourself, and you got to check the channel every 3 minutes. Just subscribe and notify. It's that simple. Because I'm not giving any moment notice that I'm going live. Not even 10 seconds. I'm just going live. That's it, man. It could be 20 minutes before the show, 2 hours. I don't know. Subscribed, notified. And hopefully, we can get amplified right before the show. All the latest. Right before Raw goes on to Netflix. Maybe we can even do a little 10-minute watch along. I don't know. I don't want to get too carried away. Be live right into the first segment. Who knows? But that's what I would like to do. So let's talk about it. Raw, Netflix tonight. There was a big movie back in 1990 It was called Home Alone. The lead character played by Macaulay Culkin. Kevin McAllister was his character. And he was staring in the mirror, but it was really the face of struggle and adversity, what everybody wanted Cody Rhodes to face back in the day. Back in the day, last year. 2 years now. 2 years in a row. Cody has to face struggle and adversity. So Kevin McAllister is facing struggle and adversity, right? The bad guys, danger. He's got to protect the house, and he's got to protect the fam and all that. And he looks in the mirror and he says, "This is it. Don't get scared now." And like, this is for Hunter Hearst Helmsley for WWE. This is it. Don't get scared now. This is it. This is the dance. This is the big time tonight. Again, you got to believe Hunter can't screw this up. There's massive names coming back. There's big matchups. All he's got to do is sit there with a headset, not say a word, don't look too stupid. And dude, everything should go off without a hitch. You would think, right? That's the hope anyway. But this is it for WWE. They can't buckle. They can't even bat an eyelash right now. This is it. Sink or swim. They got to swim pristinely and faster than anybody else in the industry. Because right now, tonight, they're setting that standard. That's how big tonight is, man. What happens tonight, it has a direct effect on every other company and every other facet of the industry we love, professional wrestling. I mean, I'm not being overdramatic in saying that, man. I don't know if you guys understand the severity, the monumental status that tonight holds. But it's that big. Los Angeles, California, this big-ass arena is going to hold this. They're still trying to sell tickets. Third party still has a bunch, hundreds still on the third market. So that tells you that it's wild that they couldn't sell this out. From what I'm hearing is they are going to try to claim that this is a sellout tonight. So don't be shocked if they announce a sellout. Just know, guys, there's hundreds on the third market. We don't expect all of them to be sold. So just keep that in mind. This isn't just a Ticketmaster thing. The resale is not showing that there's a huge surge. Not as of early morning, the morning of the recording of Raw and this upload. So as of now, basically, no surge. So they're having a hard time selling this place out. That's not a good sign for WrestleMania. But usually as we get closer, buzz starts kind of hitting other peaks. But they're holding this in this big-ass arena, LA. It was at the former Staples Center, now the Intuit Arena, something like that. Intuit, I believe. And everybody is there for the most part, man. Most of the talent, suits and ties, everybody has already been there now for at least 24 hours. This big snowstorm made those that were planning on coming in today, that made them even show up yesterday. So that's a good thing. That means they can start collaborating, not FaceTime, not on the phone, not through text. Not when they get there early or later this afternoon. No, now, yesterday, they can start collaborating. That means better for them, more comfortable with the material they're getting, which means a better product for us and should make it a lot easier for the suits and ties. So I like this. I think it should be mandatory. Shows like this, you show up the day before. BC, less family time and this and that. I get it, but it's going to help everybody. And then just cancel stuff later on, man. You know, they're doing away with house shows anyway. Cancel more of those. I mean, they want to do away with them within the next 2 years anyway. But I love the fact, just knowing that they've all been together now for about that 24-hour period. Much more camaraderie. That's the hope. Now for surprises tonight, John Cena has already been advertised. He will be there tonight. That's a huge storyline we're going to embark on. Now they could just keep it simple. I'm going to be in the Royal Rumble. I'm going to earn my shot at a championship. I have no problem with him winning it and taking on Gunther. I don't. Or the Elimination Chamber, whatever it is, and taking on Gunther. Seth Rollins versus Gunther, which is what is being talked about within those walls, is absolutely asinine. How does Seth Rollins and Gunther get you excited? You can say what you want about Cena. I've never been a big fan of Cena, but I'm more than okay with him winning Rumbles or Chambers. I don't care how old he is or how part-time, and him taking on Gunther at Mania, and him winning the title at Mania. I don't need no newcomer. I don't need any of that jazz. I don't care about who he passes torches to. These are cute little phrases we use in the pro wrestling world, and it's stupid. It doesn't lead to anything. He already did the big job to Austin Theory at WrestleMania last year, and it went nowhere 2 years ago, whatever it was. Was it last year? 2 years ago? Nobody knows. Nobody remembers because it didn't do anything for Austin Theory. And you had John Cena lose at WrestleMania to that dude. Then you had him get annihilated by Solo Sikoa. Not just lose. This was in Saudi. Did nothing for Solo. To this day, Solo, we're still calling it the bootleg bloodline. He went on a 41-match losing streak after he annihilated Cena and pinned John Cena. He then went on a 41-match losing streak. That was like Hunter Hearst Helmsley's FU to John Cena. So no, I don't need to see Cena come back and pass more torches and lose more matches. I need him to be John Cena. I need it to feel special. I need big-time matchups. And if he wants to have one last run with that championship and defeat Ric Flair's record with most championships at 17... Dude, hold my coffee while I give a standing ovation. Not no golf clap. John Cena comes back tonight. Be interesting to see if they set something big up feud-wise, or is he just going to announce his entry into the Rumble? The Rock will be there tonight. That's official. He ruined his own surprise. He recently just posted it within the last 24 hours. He said, I'm actually going to... This is what he said, actually. This is a quote from The Rock. Rock says, and I quote, I'll come back home to WWE tonight as we make history on Netflix and begin a new and exciting era. Now, I spoiled that already for a few days ago. I already told you guys it was pretty much confirmed. Rock is going to be there, and we knew that because his team was flying out. So we already know that his whole team is there. Brian Gerwitz, his personal writer, is there in LA with The Rock. So expect all material that Rock is going to have. And they're most likely going over plans for the future as well over the next several days. But Brian Gerwitz is also with him, his personal writer. So anything Rock does is not going to be Hunter related. Hunter will obviously be in on it. I mean, he has to know because it's working around Hunter's plans. But The Rock obviously has final say. Brian Gerwitz is his personal writer. So we already know the team of The Rock is with him as well. So yes, we knew Rock was going to be there, but we thought it would be more of the surprise. John Cena would be the advertised. Now, Rock ruined the surprise. So I guess they're just going to probably advertise him throughout the rest of the day as we lead into the Netflix debut of Raw. And also, kind of a surprise for some people. It'll be nice to see her for a lot of us, right? Stephanie McMahon will be on the show tonight. Now, Hunter did not say in what capacity. She could just be like in the front row, and they show them real quick. Hey, it's Stephanie, here for the festivities. Or does she actually come to the ring and say, welcome to Monday Night Raw on Netflix? And then the other big surprise is Vincent Kennedy McMahon. He's going to storm to the ring, and he's going to say some words to start the show off. Vince McMahon. I'm playing. No? Too soon? No, Vince. I'm playing, guys. Vince will not be there. Vince is not going to be there, guys. Would you flip out if he was? Would you be like, how dare they? Giving him screen time. I don't know, man. As a fan and the ultimate entertainer that Vince is, I can't say I wouldn't pop a little bit. See Vince storming down, 145 years old, tearing up 2 more quads, but trying to stand up to welcome us to Raw on Netflix. I don't know. That's my envision. No Vince, though. Stephanie is a real thing. That's a real report, guys. Not even a report. Hunter pretty much confirmed that Stephanie would be there. Well, we already know she's already been there. I already have double verified sourced reports that Stephanie is there. So we already know she's there. Hunter just said you'll most likely see her on Netflix in the first interview, and then the second interview said, yeah, you'll see Steph. So let's just put away the Clorox wipe. This ain't no 99.99%. Stephanie's there tonight as well. And probably a lot more surprises. I don't know about Hulk Hogan. I've not been able to double verify any sources. on Hulk Hogan's appearance tonight. I mentioned Hogan because there's a huge collaboration. Hogan is back big time with the WWE. And let me tell you something, brother. WWE and Hogan locked up together once again, and you're probably starting tonight. It could be in the near future, but it could be starting tonight. Hulk Hogan's beer, he has a beer brand, All-American Beer, I think it is. And it's in partnership with the WWE, so it's going to be on like ring mats or like the LED boards or on a lot of other promotional material for Netflix and WWE. So something to look out for. If you notice like Hulk Hogan images or something, that's his new beer, American-made beer. And WWE and Hogan linked up big time. And with Saturday night's main event, they wanted the first one to focus around Jesse the Body Ventura. Now, he actually has some heat with Hogan. Hogan doesn't with Ventura. Ventura has it with Hogan because he thinks that he stooged him out when he was trying to unionize WWE back in the day, and Hogan ratted him out to Vince. So he has always carried that with him. So they didn't want to like ruffle Jesse's feathers there. They do expect Jesse to be back, by the way, for the second one, but the second Saturday night's main event later this month, they really want to focus Hogan more. And he's already been on 2 commercials for Saturday night's main event. So that shows you they have a much bigger relationship with Hogan as we're going forward. But that is a huge collaboration with the WWE for their advertising. Now, if you guys are wondering, more information for you for tonight. Don't be shocked if you see a lot more promotionals and a lot more ads and a lot more like UFC style presentation. Because, of course, Endeavor owns WWE and UFC. This is massive. UFC has already done this type of business that they're doing kind of with Netflix. Not directly, but they kind of know that model. Endeavor is not brand new to this. They're going to advertise this. There's going to be a lot of a look and a feel, kind of like you have seen or would see in UFC. Hopefully that makes sense. And I just mentioned that because that's a big difference, man. A lot more ads and a lot more. You're just going to realize that a lot of people are making money. It's not just, good product and we're the fans and we're going to enjoy the show. If you were ever wondering, man, is this all about money now? You're going to see it a lot more. You're going to really feel like a lot of people are making money off of our buck. That's all I'll say about that. What else? The card, obviously, main event, Seth Rollins and CM Punk. Nothing more to say. Sold. Let's do it. And then it's Solo Sikoa Roman again. All right. Whatever. I mean, they could have just saved it for a PLE. Let's just get it out of the way now. They're going to wrestle for the Oompa Loompa, the Tribal Lay necklace, whatever that is. That's very important to these individuals, and it will symbolize the actual chief of the tribe. So, what do you want to talk about? Paul Heyman turning on Roman, possibly? Or does he go with Solo? I mean, is that better fit? I mean, Paul Heyman is better as a bad guy. And Solo and the Bloodline need help. I mean, they lost the Survivor Series. There's no way Solo can beat Roman tonight unless something massive happened, like The Rock was to get involved. Right? I mean, that I could see. The Rock gets involved, costs Roman, and that sets up heel Rock versus face Roman, keeps Rock out of the title picture and saves Cody and Rock for the future. I guess you could go that route, and we finally get the Roman Rock matchup. Now the roles are reversed. Roman is the face, Rock is the heel. I'm just trying to come to a conclusion on how do you have Solo win tonight if he does, or Paul Heyman turn somehow. Because if Roman wins, what do you do with Solo? I mean, they already lost the Survivor Series. They tried to build them back up, but it didn't work. They were barely built up beforehand. And then he loses tonight. What do you do with Solo if he doesn't have a Paul? And can Paul Heyman even save Solo? Putting Paul with anybody isn't necessarily just going to work just because it's Paul Heyman. You put him with a Brock, you can put him with a Roman, okay. CM Punk was already established. But, you put him with another individual, you put him with a Tozawa or a Bronson Reed even, guys. I can't tell you that's going to work, right? Let's just leave the little Tozawas out of it, right? Little ricochets. You can put him with a Bronson Reed. You can put him with Braun Strowman. I don't know if Paul Heyman's, if that's going to work. Is that going to get Strowman to the next level or a Bronson? It worked with Roman, but the dynamic was as heels. That's the whole point. Paul Heyman loves working heel. He doesn't know in any other way, really. So that's the interesting thing there. I can speak more coffee, BC, is the finish. Because you got to be real careful on how you set the trajectories afterwards, especially going into WrestleMania. Of course, you got Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley for the championship. Most likely, Rhea's getting the title. I don't think that's needed. I know it's not needed. I think right now, Liv Morgan walking out of LA with that title, walking out of the Netflix debut of Raw with the title, is going to do a lot more for Liv than it would for Rhea. A lot more for Liv than it would Rhea walking out with that title, other than a special moment where we can put smiles on people's faces. Rhea won the title. Doesn't do anything. Liv needs that title. Have Liv drop it at Mania. Keep building her up in that title reign. Rhea will be fine, and there's a million ways to have Rhea drop this match, or at the bare minimum, just not walk away with the championship. It's a big night tonight, and like I said, there's no way you can screw this up. So that's the good news. No matter how just all over the place Hunter Hearst Helmsley is, you can't screw this up. The card is just, it's sitting in their lap. All you got to do is now just put them out there, man. Give them semi-creative. Brian Gerwitz will be taking care of the Rock segment. Let Seth and CM Punk do what they do. Right? Consummate professionals, they'll be fine, right? It's like Hunter's booking of Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. That was one of the best feuds of 2024. If you look at the creative, there was none. They just attacked each other nonstop and pull them apart brawls. But CM Punk and Drew knew how to sell themselves. They're like, listen, this is what we're getting creatively, or lack thereof. Let's just do what we do. And that's all it was. The only story I can remember from that whole feud was the bracelet. There was like a bracelet, Larry and AJ, and it got taken and broken, and that was it, right? And it's just it's a regurgitated easy storyline. They're doing it right now with Roman and Solo in the tribal lay, right? The Oompa Loompa, right? The necklaces, the bracelets. We can do that, right? Hunter loves his bracelets, so that's an easy story. But it was Punk and Drew that really brought that to life. Well, Seth and CM Punk will do that tonight. So this is what I mean. Hunter can't screw this up unless he tries to do more than he has to flex. This is not the night to flex. Sit down, put on your headset, stay at Gorilla, and like a kid at the dinner table, just eat. Eat. Don't try to cook the meal. Stop cooking, right? We know what happens when Hunter tries to cook. Sit down, eat the meal that's prepared for you. Or look at it. I don't care. The meal is already prepared. Sit there, eat it, look at it, but shut up, kid. Moving on. Speaking of Hunter, do we go over this now? Since we're already speaking of Hunter? No, let's break it up. Let's go AEW, one of my favorite people in the world, JoJo. So, JoJo, the significant other of Bray Wyatt, former WWE talent, damn good ring announcer. And I just, man, when she took off, I'm like, whoa, what? She's so good. How do you lose her? But she wanted to, do the family thing. She met Bray and she was happy. That's all that matters, It's like Samantha. Samantha comes in. She's so good at this announcing thing. And then she's gone. She's like, I don't really like this. What? We always lose the good ring announcers, man. But JoJo took off, started a new life. And you guys know this channel was founded on two names, basically, Bray Wyatt, Sasha Banks. Those were just, when I started this channel, those were the only two that were really, captivating me. Something about Sasha Banks, she just captivating. I was just like, that's just who I want to see on the TV. And then Bray Wyatt, obviously. This dude was just larger than life. At a time where there's just not enough larger than life wrestlers. So the channel was founded on those two individuals, and then of course, Bray passes, and you talk about a rough time for no one more so than JoJo and the kids and the fam. So to see what happened recently at a Collision taping, it was for a dark match, mind you. Dark match at Collision, AEW. JoJo returned to pro wrestling, and she was the ring announcer for a dark match on Collision. How cool was that? When I heard that first, I immediately deep dived in to get some more info on the JoJo situation and if she signed a contract. Is it going to air? I know they said dark match, but is she going to be on I tried to find out the info, but you never know. You never know what's filmed backstage or what plans are in the works between Tony, JoJo, or any talent, but I couldn't come up with anything. So all we know is that it was just a one and done one-off for the dark match, JoJo doing the ring announcing. And it was just so good to see her in there with the microphone in hand, that smile, and just rocking it, man. Like not many can do, not like JoJo. So, yeah, I know a lot of you guys are probably wondering my thoughts on that because of how high the pedestal I put Bray on and how much I've always loved JoJo. Before they got together, I always said she's one of the prettiest girls I've ever seen. One of the prettiest girls I've ever seen or ever will. So I always thought it was interesting, right? My boy Bray came across the one of the most beautiful girls on the planet, man. And scored her. He got the girl, right? This big right Bozer. You think of Bray Wyatt, you're like, dude, a lot of girls probably gonna run away, scared. Nah, man. JoJo was like, hey, Beauty and the Beast. JoJo was back, man. I don't know. I don't want to talk in circles. You could tell how pumped I am to hear that and to see that. And I really do hope it leads to more. I think it's therapeutic for her for sure, but this is just something she was always naturally good at. You gotta want to do it, though. That's the thing. Does she want to? I don't know. If she does, man, what a door that Tony Khan opened for her. Appreciate Tony Khan doing that, really, in AEW, and I just think that's awesome, and it was so good to see that. But Samantha taught us, if you don't like what you're doing, you can't do it. That goes for any job, right? It gets to a point where it's, you're going paycheck to paycheck and you're going in because you have to. But you got to love what you're doing eventually. Eventually, you got to go, whoa, days are passing by here, man. I got to start enjoying this stuff a little more. Or I got to do something else. So for JoJo, that's the big question. Does she want to do this? Because it looks like Tony's absolutely offering her. And I would think WWE would too, right? I mean, there's got to be always a position open for JoJo. We would think. Samantha was such a good talent. She said she wanted to do more with WWE. She just didn't like ring announcing. And Hunter was like, yeah, we just don't have anything for you. She's like, I'll manage. Let me manage. I can do it. No, we just don't have anything for you. Just a ring announce. And she was like, no, man, peace. Deuces, ooses. A lot of people think Ricochet did have a hand in that. I'm guessing there was a little bit. I mean, they're a couple. You think they're not talking about this? Ricochet wouldn't leave WWE if there wasn't some disgruntledness and a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. And here you have Samantha still working there. I'm sure there was conversations like, dude, get out. Just get out, man. You don't need that. And Samantha said straight out, she just didn't like to ring announce. But she said she went to Hunter. She tried to get other positions. Nobody would give her anything else. So anyway, that's right. The moral of the story. You gotta love what you're doing if you're gonna make it a career. Man, I really hope JoJo is reignite that passion because I'd love to see her back. Whether AEW, WWE, I don't care if it's a local bingo hall, right? We'll watch the footage. JoJo, much love and respect. Bray Wyatt, JoJo. Carry on that legacy. And now we'll go to Hunter Helmsley, right? Oh boy. All right, so if you're ever wondering just what gets just people frustrated and just they don't have confidence in Paul Levesque McMahon. That's right, I said McMahon. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And a lot of stuff he's doing, I firmly believe that Vince and Stephanie, they're all talking at the dinner table, right? And telling Hunter what to do. Hunter told you he goes to Vince for advice still. Of course, his exact words, it's my father-in-law. He's got a wealth of knowledge. Why wouldn't I? And he says, whenever I'm kind of stumped or in a pickle or in a bind, I go to Vince. Well, isn't that all the time? Isn't that what Hunter tells us in his interviews? Everything is difficult to this guy. That's all he wants to tell us. He is constantly telling us how hard his job is. But we're always seeing him doing nothing but filming his ads and his commercials and his Are You Ready spots and flexing and being Papa H. All that time could be spent making your job less difficult, right? A little bit easier, maybe. A little bit. Listen to what he said about Mania plans, right? He was just asked. He was doing media rounds for Netflix. And this is what Hunter Hearst Helmsley said about, are Mania plans set? Do you have your... It's January. It's a simplistic question. The answer should be yes. That's it. Move on. Next question. This is what Hunter says. He says about Mania plans being set, and I quote, yes, with an asterisk, he says. He says, maybe we go in a different direction. Sometimes you start to go down the road with a storyline and it's just not resonating the way that I thought it would. Or maybe this will be bigger. We had a card for WrestleMania loosely written out in October, and that has morphed a lot. Can I say I have something penciled in? Yes. Do I think it will stay? I think, but I'm not sure. End quote. We know things can change. There's injuries, there's this, there's that, right? There's reports that Fridays, there were so many rewrites up until the last minutes before the show went live. Now, some of that we're hearing was some illnesses, some injuries, something like that. Oh, who knows? But there's even more backstage chaos that Hunter is, right, the reports we're getting is Hunter is just losing control of 3-hour shows. It's no longer just what he used to admit. And he admitted this, at least. But he admitted in several interviews, the third hour is just too difficult to write, or it's so difficult, right? He wanted to make sure that we know that a 3-hour show is hard to produce and create for. We know, Hunter. You told us a bunch of times. So now, adding a second 3-hour show a week and seeing how Friday went, I mean, that wasn't just illnesses and injuries and putting some wrestlers in their place. This was a show this was a wreck. You saw the main event, 40 minutes in Solos coming to the ring. We know we're not getting a 40-minute 6-man tag. And what followed was just nonstop dancing to fill time, doubled up on commercials, and a whole lot of filler. And by the time it was done on TV, you saw about 16 minutes of wrestling. Timing issues were magnified Friday night. So you can't blame that on injuries and... You can't blame that on injuries and illnesses, and that's why we had to do rewrites. No, bro, you've been rewriting television recently. Friday night was literally because you were indecisive, and now you're going to add a second 3-hour show. But it's bad enough when it's, you know, these weekly shows. WrestleMania, it's January. It's your job to have this set and build to the point where we want to see it because it's escalating. It's progressing in the right trajectory, right? It's going upwards, the feud, the story. You can't let your audience sour on all these things, right? You're moving in all these directions because you're not producing good television or good storylines or feuds that we care about for more than 3 days. And that has nothing to do with attention spans or a microwave society. There's nothing to do with that. That's a part in everything these days, yes. So I'll put my own asterisk there. It's a part of everything. Attention spans. But still, pro wrestling will absolutely dedicate themselves to multi-month feuds and stories. You just have to make it captivating. You have to give us reasons to invest into it. That's your job. Instead, he's sitting back and he's like, do I think something will not work? Do I think other things might be better? And then if they don't work, I'll change that too. Yes. So he says January. This interview was what, the 4th? A day or two ago. So we're already into January. Mania's in a couple of months. And he says, and I quote, do I think the penciled in card that I have will stay? I think, but I'm not sure. He is telling you, I have no idea. We still have a loosely written script for Mania. And we're just going to wing it and see how it goes. That's how Hunter has always booked. He doesn't want to dedicate to anything because that takes too much work. Because once he does that, he knows that it's now his job to make sure that that card that he penciled in loosely becomes reality. And it becomes a card that is must-see and people want to engage with and actually get captivated by. Be captivated by. Hunter knows that he now has to go to work. This is the card. Now the work begins. Get your audience ready for a wild story ride, like a roller coaster. with a lot more of the awesome drops than the boring turnarounds. But no, Hunter doesn't want to get that creative. He doesn't want to do that work. He wants to film commercials for promotionals and do the "Are you ready" spots, and he wants to flex, and he wants to walk all around like he's now the Vince of WWE. That's what he's doing, guys. You guys know that. He's everywhere. I'm seeing more Hunter Hearst Helmsley today than I did when he was the cerebral assassin in the Attitude Era, one of the top heels. I have never seen this much Hunter Hearst Helmsley. He's the face of WWE. The problem is he's supposed to only be the chief content officer. So why would kids and families and everybody, the average fan, want to see Hunter all the time? Why are they not seeing the wrestlers more than him? He shouldn't be the face of WWE and on everything and on all the promotionals. When Kevin Owens attacked Cody Rhodes after Saturday night's main event, it should have been Nick Aldis pushing Kevin Owens. You could do a match with them in the future. You have to think about that. He's the authority on SmackDown. He's pissed. You could set up a match. Hunter Helmsley is pushing him. He can't have a match. He has a gimmick in his chest. Hunter literally cannot wrestle. And why would you just skip over all this in his position and just go to Hunter pushing him just for that, just because he knows he's going to break the web, right? And that's all he's concerned with. Let's break the interweb machine, right? When CM Punk came out from Survivor Series, his debut a couple years ago, and he came back to WWE, the second he got back, he couldn't even shake hands with all of his old friends and take in the moment. Hunter's right there, the hog it all, and he's like, dude, let's take a picture. Let's break the internet, he said. And Punk even made fun of him. Oh, do we get to point at each other? And sure enough, Hunter's doing the point, and that thing was up in 20 minutes. Tiffany Stratton couldn't have a breath when she got through the curtain Friday night. Hunter was right there. Let's do the point. I got to break the internet. He always has to be a part of everything, man. Stop for a second. Let them enjoy the moment. So if you stop doing all of that, your job would be less difficult. Maybe. Food for thought. But he wants you to know how difficult it is to book this Mania, or any Mania, because plans can change. Look what happened last year when The Rock came back. Dude, that's because you knew ahead of time. January 1st, you knew you still had Cody win the Rumble, and then he admitted on the WrestleMania documentary, remember that? It just came out a few months ago. He said, I didn't really have plans after that. I knew Rock was doing his thing. I already knew what they wanted to do and what we were going to do. I still had Cody win the Rumble, and then I was just going to go from there, he said. You can't do that. I can't even. A lot of people still thought that Punk, because he got injured, was supposed to win, and then he let Cody win. They called an audible. I knew that wasn't the case. And then when H confirmed that, everybody was kind of like, oh, that was just a horrible booking botch. Can I say I have something penciled in for Mania? Yes. Do I think it will stay? I think, but I'm not sure. BC, at least he's being honest. Yeah. At some point, maybe it's best to just lie for a minute or just say nothing at all. And I'll take you a step further, because this is even more obnoxious and it backs up everything I just said. So then he was asked about the Netflix commercials, how that's going to go. There is going to be limited ads, just so you guys know. For now, and as time goes on, trust me when I say this, I already know how this business works, you're going to see a lot more ads. Once Netflix realizes it's not getting the return on its investment that it was hoping for, or even if it was, it would get more greedy, because that's what these conglomerates do. You're going to see more ads regardless. They're going to want to make more. But for now, limited ads is what they're saying. What does limited mean? Oh, you got to ask Netflix. But when asked about being commercial free or just commercials on Netflix, he went into USA Network asking him to be commercial free. He wanted once again for us to realize how difficult his job is. The ultimate woe is me, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, right? He wants everybody to realize how difficult he has it. So he says about commercials on Netflix, he says, they ask us, Can you do an hour of commercial free? Of course he means USA, because they're the ones that are always asking that. And that's some insight there, right? You never know if WWE is going like, hey man, we would love to be commercial free. Do you think we can work this out? Right? Because WWE is so eager to put on their best product and try to get new fans, or when they're flicking through no commercials, they're going to stay on your product. So they're the initiators. But no, he's like, they come to us and they're like, can you give us an hour free? We're willing to pay. Totally paid for. We want to give you an hour free. And this is what Hunter says. They ask us, can you do an hour of commercial free? Commercial free television is incredibly difficult. People don't understand that, he says, right? Woe is me, Hunter Helmsley. This is what he always does. Feel bad for him, man. This is a quote. People don't understand how hard commercial free television. So now it's not just the third hour of television that's difficult. Now it's just commercial free television is also so difficult. To be able to go from this match ends, then you got to get him out of the arena. Bro, you just got to get him out of the ring. Stop it. Then you got to get him out of the arena. You got to go backstage. You got to go do this other stuff. If something happens, there's no commercial to go to. If something happens, there's no commercial to go to. So having those breaks in there to some degree is helpful. If you are running a promotion, commercials should be one of your just biggest nemesis. You don't have enough time to utilize your wrestlers. You don't have enough time to show your creativity. Hunter Helmsley, the commercials help us. It helps us fill up time. That's what he's telling you. It breaks things up. It helps us move people out of the arena after their match. Bro, you're not firing them. They're going to the back. They get a drink of water. Maybe call a loved one and say, hey, I just had a good match. Takes a second. What are you talking about? He wants more. The commercials are helpful, he said. It helps me make better television because they take up a bunch of time. Having those breaks in there to some degree is helpful. Stop, man. USA is asking you, do you want to be an hour free? We'll pay for it. And your thing, you go right to how difficult that's going to be. You roll your eyes on, no, man, this is going to be hard. You would think a promoter would be just seizing at that idea, right? Just thinking, oh, yes, I got an hour free, man. Everybody flipping through the channels for that hour, and they come across that. You're hoping they stay. You don't have to worry about them flipping through when there's a commercial on USA, so they're just going to keep flipping. Whoa, what is Bronson and Braun doing outside? Is he going to jump off the barricade through the car? Right? Instead of being excited about a commercial, that's how I would go about it. If USA is coming to me and going, hey, we'll pay for an hour free, dude. Can you just deliver the content? I'm not going to go, man, this is going to be so hard. But yeah, of course. And then when I'm asked about it in an interview, go, man, literally, I quote, people don't understand how difficult it is. Dude, you said the same thing about the third hour of a television show for wrestling. This is what he said in so many interviews. The third hour is so difficult, people don't realize it. What else don't we realize, Hunter? How difficult it is to write a wrestling show. We get it. Dude, you barely do anything. Every Monday night or Friday night, it's a match, promo, pull them apart, brawl 3 times, backstage for 16 promos, and you call it a night and you put your cute little freaking name there with Lee Fitting to make sure everybody knows that this is your product. It's your face as the face of the company. It's your name that produced it all. And then you go in the interviews and you talk about how difficult your job is. Shut up, bro, for one fucking moment. Just say, dude, when they come to me for commercial free, I am so excited. I am pumped. It challenges us and it gets us more just innovative. It forces us to be even better. People don't, it's always, people don't understand how difficult it is to write for WrestleMania. People don't understand how difficult the third hour of a wrestling show is. People don't understand when they come to us and want to pay for an hour free of commercial-free television, how difficult it is for. People don't understand how difficult it is to write for wrestling. Woe is me, Helmsley. It's the woe is me era at this point. Mutual respect is to the wayside. Woe is me. It's frustrating, man. Because when I look at that, I'm like, dude, if somebody gave me an hour of commercial-free television paid for, primetime television, how does that not pump you up to put your best foot forward, your ducks in a row, and deliver your best creativity? This guy talks about how difficult it is. If this was once in a while, he's talking about, oh, just, it's just a dude who just wants to relieve some stress and tell you how difficult his job is. Cool. But the fact that he says this stuff for everything, nothing is clear cut and dry. He never has his ducks in a row. Nothing is ever set in stone. With this guy, he always says the same shit. It's pro wrestling, so you never know. Things are always going to change. And everything is difficult. Meanwhile, while he's saying everything is supposedly so difficult, he's spending half his day every day in front of the camera doing promotionals and being the face of the company. Stop doing that if this is so difficult. Or relinquish the title of Chief Content Officer. Because right now, you're the officer of bullshit. You're the officer of woe is me. BC's amplified on this. Because how much longer can we do this shit? How much longer is this guy Chief Content Officer? Every time he does an interview, everything is going to be difficult for this guy. And then you wonder, NXT Black and Gold, why it was so good. It was 1 hour on the network, so they didn't even have all the eyeballs like telling him what they can't do, this and that. Okay, but he had a team around him, right? He had Dusty Rhodes, William Regal, and so many others. He got to fly in on the company jet and become Papa H. This ain't that 1 hour little show on the network that maybe Hunter could manage with a good team around him. This is the big times. 1 3-hour show is too much for him. Now you're going to have 2 3-hour shows. Am I stunned that his penciled in WrestleMania card is most likely going to change 85 times? No, I'm not shocked. You can say what you want about Vince. You know what he did, though? He had his WrestleMania card already set in stone, end of the year previous. And then he would build matches to the point where we cared about them and we had to whip out the wallet and pay for. That's what Hunter needs to do. You're not moving mountains. It's not rocket science here. You're literally setting a match and going, my goal now is to get the full audience into this. Eager to say which credit card do you want, Hunter? WWE. Instead, he says, if this doesn't work, then we'll have to switch it up. But I'm leaving everything fluent right now. It's a loose, penciled in script. Bro, it's January. Mania's in a couple months. Cooking. Cooking what? I can't even use the joke microwaving ramen noodles anymore. Because I'm pretty sure he'd screw that up. That's what I got for you. Done with this type of... The dude wants to be a performer, clearly. That's the biggest aggravation. It's clear. You guys know that. And if you don't, if you never thought about it, I'm telling you that, man. I've been around for decades in this industry. I've been in that ring. I got friends breaking their backs around the world as I speak. I'm not new to this industry. Just because I don't work for World Wrestling Entertainment doesn't mean I don't know how this works. Hunter is the entertainer. Cool. Become the Paul Ellering, a manager or something, and remain a suit and tie backstage. Give yourself a cute little role. But content and creative, it's not your juice, bro. This ain't 15 plus years ago. That's not Black and Gold. It's not 1 hour. It's not the network. Netflix tonight, Monday Night Raw debut, man. I hope to be live with you guys right beforehand. We'll see. Stay subscribed and notified. I was fully amped. A lot of fun, man. Thank you guys so much for joining me. This is a monumental amped up show today because it's a monumental day in pro wrestling. Again, Hunter can't screw this night up, at least. Right? All he's got to do is sit there with his headset and let it unfold. Right? Let The Rock direct the show with Brian Gerwitz. Just let them run it, bro. I don't even care. Just sit there and just let everything that's advertised be just Hunter. Just don't say anything, bro. No word salad is needed. Don't try to do anything. Don't flex. We don't need you to start the show going, oh, are you ready? But I'm guessing Hunter will be a big part of the show. He has to be. And until next time, there will be that next time again, possibly live right before the Netflix debut of Raw, and definitely within the next 24 hours, a massive, monumental review of Monday Night Raw. 44 Dive, that's a wrap. BC in the unit, check you, salut.